Children, it's time to return to the graveyard with your friend Count. Okay, all right. Sorry for that melodramatic opening. If you have kept up a little bit, there was a ton, and I mean a ton, of horror films and even horror television that was postponed by the crisis, and slowly but surely, it's finally making its way to us after a big, long delay. And so we're going to begin by looking at Spiral, which is part of the Saw universe and the Saw franchise. And we're going to be reacting to Perry Nemiroff's non spoiler review of Spiral. And while I violently disagree most of the time with Perry, she's a very good critic. And with horror, she's a horror fanatic and a horror addict. She just loves horror. She reads horror, she hears horror, and she knows her horror films. So this should be the ideal critic to be sympathetic to what Spiral is up to. So we'll see whether it succeeded or not and what this tells us about the future.
Really good at throwing a ton of big ideas out there, but then it has nothing to say about them. So that then reduces Spiral to a movie that essentially does follow the Saw formula: trap scene, dialogue driven investigation scene, trap scene investigation, and so on until the mystery is solved. There was definitely something about watching Spiral and seeing the traps play out that had me thrilled to no end to be back in the Saw world, but that excitement did eventually dissipate for a number of reasons, and a big one being the lack of substance there. Another
That's it in a nutshell. Basically, good traps. It's good to be back in the Saw universe. It's very brutal and intense, visceral, and it looks good. So it looks great, but it basically is extremely formulaic. And if that's what you want from your Saw movie, just the usual testing trap, investigation, then that's what you're going to get. But there's no big, deep mystery, no big, like, oh, what a twist! Nothing like that, and the story seems to have no real substance or subtext. It's just going to be a lot of scares, a la Saw, which, if you know the Saw franchise, is very, very intense and brutal. Do not watch these things if you are not prepared for some incredibly brutal imagery. I saw Saw 1 and 2, very impressed, and I liked what I saw. I thought it was very good on many levels, including just pure filmmaking, because I'm a up and coming director and writer, and I'm just like, it's just so impressive what they were able to do with a very, very small, modest budget. So the world of Saw is very impressive, at least at the beginning of the series. But I just had a lot of fears something like this would happen, that after you played out the premise, that you're going to have diminishing returns, which is a shame because Jigsaw is an incredibly alluring and interesting character, and a real return for me to kind of like the great 1980s and the horror icons of that era, because there just have not been as many memorable, whatever you want to call them, horror monsters or horror icons like there used to be in the 70s and 80s. You just had a whole plethora that was created, from Jason to Freddy to Michael, you name it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You could just point to them so easily, and there's just a paucity. But I thought Saw did create a really credible icon, and I really thought the actor behind it was amazing, and his voice is just so distinct and so powerful. I was one of those people like, okay, I'm not really a big fan of the whole franchise, but all right, if Spiral is good, let's give it a chance. And Perry saying, yeah, this is really just a disappointing update, and it's unfortunate because you want to give Chris Rock a lot of kudos for trying to do something different with his career and really challenge us with his performances, but it basically seems very dry, paint by numbers. So if that's again what you wanted from Saw, just paint by numbers kind of torture horror stuff, then apparently this will work for you. But if you wanted something deeper or more creative, which I think the first two Saws, I can say with confidence, really did have, they are, whatever you want to say about them, they are very creative. And they do have something substantive to say about why Jigsaw is doing what he's doing, because what he does seems utterly irredeemable and ununderstandable and just a complete maniac and fanatic. But when he explains himself, it's actually fairly deep and fairly disturbing, and he does have a point. He's sort of in the tradition of not of Freddy Krueger, but more like Hannibal and Silence of the Lambs. He's just a very intelligent, clever character who just really tries to upset your notions of normalcy, a very Nietzschean edge to what he's up to. But unfortunately, apparently, the Saw franchise is running out of energy and creativity, and Spiral is not the kind of thing to welcome back a renaissance of great new horror, which is a shame because I'm sure this is just a misstep, and the other horror films that are coming are going to be much more impressive. So it's unfortunate too, because this probably would have gotten a theatrical release. And so you can look at it two ways. One is that maybe they just need to welcome an up and coming auteur or a more experienced horror director to really revitalize the franchise, or they need to just strip it down and start all over again. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, but I do think it has strong structural elements, and Jigsaw is such a great character. And there's a lot you can do with it and build around him and what he's after and what he's doing to quote his victims, who you'll discover oftentimes in the movies are really not victims at all, but are basically getting their just desserts. And the way it's done is very satisfying at both ends and really challenging you what you may have thought about what he's up to. But unfortunately, Spiral is not the one to really revitalize our interest in the Saw franchise, which it's a shame. So I have full confidence Parrot was being very accurate. And I've only clipped parts of it that make it seem really bad. No, she does give a lot of points to the cleverness of the traps and how it is very stripped down and just gets to the point. And if that is what you wanted from Saw, it will satisfy you immensely at that level. But if you were hoping for a return to its early roots and its much more complex understanding of horror and abnormalcy, this is going to be a bit of a slight disappointment. All right, this has been Pop Cult Analyzed on Return of Horror in the New Age, and unfortunately a misstep with Spiral. Thanks for listening.